blank.
Kitty. Hi, Kitty. What's Mommy gonna get her? What's Mommy gonna give her?
What's that cat's name?
Her name's Pearly.
Pearly, that's a good name.
I'm hungry. He's very hungry. I think he's hungry.
Patrick Jordan. Jordan said he and collaborators Dave Mansueto and Pete Spinda initially expected a shorter run.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Alone Together Pittsburgh, streaming at you live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am your host, Patrick Jordan. This is episode 200. We are in week, I believe, 66, episode 200 of Alone Together Pittsburgh. And this is the last show you will see on a Friday. That's right, folks. We're starting to pack it in here. We started the show to keep a sense of community going through the pandemic when everything was shut down. And we feel we've kind of achieved that goal. We never dreamed in a million years that we would still be doing this in, June of 2021, when this thing dropped, early March of 2020. We started streaming the show a few days before the governor came down with the order, the stay-at-home shelter-in-place order, and we've been doing it 3 or 4 times a week ever since. And I want to thank you for being there with us, watching the shows, and coming on. We've had probably over 650 guests over that time period. It's probably more, but we kind of lost count, and we stopped doing the arithmetic when we had like 15 and 20 guests on at a clip on different times. So it's somewhere between the 600 and 700 range, and 200 episodes, 66 weeks. And but I tell you what, we are going to go out in style tonight. We have got a fantastic show for you tonight. Sir Mark Rylance is going to be here. We've got that rolling on. Natalie Besavenga has a killer 5 minutes with to send us home. We're obviously going to ask Natalie some advice. Dave Eggar, who was here on episode 1, is going to be back to tickle those cello strings, and we couldn't send it off tonight without our favorite Byron Nash is going to be here to talk about what he's got going on with the new beer collabs, black metal, and Do Ya Fitness, and some new things that have happened since the last time he was here. And I think tonight might actually put Byron in the illustrious 5-timers club. That's right, folks. We've got one of those. So it's going to be a hot show tonight. But before we do that, we got some housekeeping to take care of. Ticking below me right there is our Venmo. It is @TogetherPGH. You'll see that there's a food truck off to the side there. We'll find out what's going on with that in a little bit. But if you could give a couple of bucks to the show, we would greatly appreciate it. You won't have many more chances. It is @TogetherPGH is the Venmo and the PayPal. So if you could do that, that would be greatly, wildly, fantastically appreciated. Some other stuff going on here. I got a couple of things to say, but you know what, Dave? We should talk about Engine House 25 Winery, who sponsored the Jag off polls, right? Engine House 25 Winery, if you go to eh25.com, you can check out this fantastic variety of wines that they have. The grapes come from Chile, Napa, everywhere in between. So it's not no Mon Valley grapes. It's the good stuff, but it's handpicked. It's all selected. It's all crushed, destemmed, everything, and prepared right there in Doughboy Square, right where Lawrenceville meets the Strip District at 3339 Penn Avenue. And you have 6 days left. If you buy any wine from EH25, you tell them you found out about them from Alone Together Pittsburgh, you get $5 off per bottle. This will go till Thursday of next week. So a big thank you to Engine House 25 Winery for supporting us. And also one of our favorite episodes was when we did a blind wine tasting on the show and everybody got ridiculously hammered. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. Who knows? It might be one of everybody's favorite shows. One other thing. Oh, Byron's going to be home in a bit, so get ready. All right. He's going to get prepped. So he was working out at the gym. He was Do Ya Fitnessing. So something else that's coming up next week, Thursday, June 24th. We are having one last show. It is a send-off, if you will, and there's going to be a party, right? So the party is from 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock at right there on the river there. Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Where's that party going to be, Dave?
It's right on the river. I'm going to bring up the map. How about that? We can get the Zoom.
Roundabout there, it'll pop up.
I've never been there.
I've never been there. It's right behind Bicycle Heaven. It's outdoors. Right there on the water. It's going to be beautiful. We'll probably show up around 8 or so after we finish our show, because we're gonna do one last one with the crew, and there's gonna be some surprises with what we do with the show. So it'll be one last little send off for us, but that's where it'll be. We'll have the map up later. Don't worry about it. You can find out about it on our Facebook event page and on our website, togetherpgh.com. Right there is where it is on that needle drop. So right there, you can see the stadium over there.
If you're going to get there by helicopter, this is the best way to approach right here. You just land on top of that building there.
Well, speaking of that, Dave, that actually reminds me of our in-show poll for tonight. So one last time, Dave, do you want to read to the people one last little jag off?
Patrick, but between you and me, we didn't actually make it happen.
I thought I did. It's on there now. I'm looking at it.
Are you looking at it?
It's on there.
All right, well, shucks. Let's do it then.
I made it happen. Okay, so first of all, do it, Dave. Do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, last jag off on the left. Berg's night jag off. These are the things these are the things you hate about Pittsburgh or you love about Pittsburgh. Whatever the Pittsburgh things. We don't like to define the rules. 3 a.m. road construction, military training exercises, cicadas. Do we even have cicadas? I don't think we have any. I haven't seen any cicadas. Hailstorms, microbursts. Vote. It's the last Jag off. Vote like your life depends upon it, because this is the last stand for the Jag man. Have at it.
All right.
If it's even working.
I think I'm looking at it. Can you guys see it? Give me a comment if anybody sees it. I have no idea. I'm looking at it. Am I wrong? Did I screw up?
You got to be right.
Okay. All right. So anybody that's watching right now, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if there's a poll. Hey, look, it's Pete. Thanks for being here tonight, Pete. He's frozen. He's got the coolest T-shirt though. All right. So here we go. Okay. So, all right. So Donna sees it. So
we got a
it's on.
confirmation.
We've got a confirmation. I don't know if we'll be able to find the winner, but please vote and we'll check in on it periodically. So cool, guys. So that's what it is. Before we get to the show tonight, couple of things. Thank you, Trent.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. I'll take it. A couple of things. I mean, thumbs up. Thank you. We got the poll going. I got with that thumbs up, man. You didn't like what I was saying. I get it. So a couple of things. We're not going to be here to cover some stuff, right? So one of the things that I want to tell you about is Hotline Ring that's coming on here. Dave's going to throw the website up here in a second. It is basically the Super Friends fundraiser that's coming up, I believe, on July 16th. So look into it. I don't have time to go through all the groups that are going to be there, but some fantastic groups. The majority of them have been on this show on a couple of occasions. They actually came on the show a year ago at the first Hotline Ring. I call it the Super Friends of Amazing Arts Groups. So please, if you can, check that out. Something else that isn't so much support, but we need your help. We're going to use our platform for help. Well, here's the Hotline Ring thing right there. So you can go through that. You can see what it is. The website's obviously just what it is. It's like it's hubbed at the Kelly Strayhorn, but it's some fantastic groups there. Boom Concepts, Stacy Pearl Dance, Pearl Arts. Lot like I could go on and on. But the link is in our timeline there. So check them out. Something else happened here that I noticed on Facebook today. Dalal Khalil from Khalil's Restaurant, who came on the show, was fantastic on the show. And Khalil's is an amazing restaurant right there on Center. Someone stole one of their palm trees from outside the restaurant. Someone stole one of their big giant palm trees with the Christmas lights on it. So there was a hunt on there right now. So she was looking for it right there, but she didn't just stop there. She didn't just make one post. Okay. She's trying to find it. She went deep. She went CSI on it. What else did she do, Dave? She pulled up a couple of things. How hard is it to see a 9-foot queen palm tree in Pittsburgh? Because there aren't many. She's looking. She's fired up to get them. She even got an eyewitness account of what the truck looked like, but that wasn't the truck. So if you see a 9-foot palm tree, you can contact us. Or Dalal Khalil, contact her directly. Khalil's Restaurant. You get the number there in the book. They're opening up again too soon. They're also hiring, so get on that right there. So, good luck. I hope you find the culprit of the missing palm tree at the tail end of the pandemic. Well, wouldn't be the tail end of the pandemic without us, starting late and me going long. So, I think what we should do tonight, Dave. Tell me if I'm wrong here. Okay, I think we should start with Sir Mark Rylance because he's, Sir, it's kind of knighted.
He's a knight.
And then we'll roll through.
He'll come back and stab you if you don't put him first. You know what I mean? You don't cross a knight.
He doesn't. I bet you he's wonderful with a sword, but he doesn't seem like the type who
he's got a love sword and he'll stab. He's got a love.
He's one of the kindest, greatest, most talented people that I've ever met. And fortunately,
beat you in a love battle. That's what'll happen.
He'll beat me in a love battle, and he will win every time. Here he is right now. He is a 3-time Tony winner, 2-time Olivier Award winner, and an Oscar winner, which completes the circle for us. We've got the EGOT, folks. Mark Rylance put us over the top for the EGOT. We'll talk more about it later, but here's a little sit down with me and Mark Rylance. Here he is. All right, everybody, we are very excited for our next guest. He finally completes the circle for us. We finally have an EGOT on the show. I'm very excited to announce him. We've got a lot to talk about. Here he is, a man that actually, for the first time in 200 episodes, a man that needs no introduction. Here is Sir Mark Rylance. Hey, Mark, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. What's an EGOT?
Well, okay, so we started when we started the show. We were doing the show Hyper Pittsburgh, right? And then we had a couple of Grammy winners that came on the show. Then we had a couple of Emmy winners that came on the show. Then Michael Cerverus came on, and he had a couple of Tony Awards. So if you have an Emmy and Oscar, a Tony, and I'm forgetting the other one. Emmy, Oscar, Tony, and a Grammy, it's an EGOT. Right. So we were trying to have the circle complete, and you are our first Oscar winner on the show. So thank you so much for gracing us with your presence here. Although on occasion I do talk about Rocky movies and Sylvester Stallone a lot, and it did come up that Mark Rylance beat won the award instead of Sylvester Stallone in that category. So I had to defend you because
yeah, that's a funny thing. You know, his brother was very upset that I had won, and tweeted afterwards, you know, who is this Mike Rylance guy? He can't even comb his hair, which, you know, is absolutely true. You know, if you can find my hair, I'd comb it, but I that's my style. But I was quite touched by it, because back in the 70s, when I was first really into films, I was blown away by that film Dog Day Afternoon. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, very much.
I think it was the first time I saw Al Pacino act, and it was whoever would have, you know, it was just
it's fantastic.
Fantastic film. Absolutely fantastic film. I forget the director now. Was it Sidney Lumet? Maybe I forget.
It was Sidney Lumet, and I can't believe I'm spacing on the actor. One of my favorite actors of all time. He only made 5 movies.
John Cazale.
John Cazale. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And my dad had taken me to see it, and one of those early efforts, you know, for my dad and I to get together and be friends. And not that we were unfriendly, but we didn't do a lot together. And I remember sitting in the cinema afterwards in a shopping mall in Milwaukee, where I lived at the time, just bawling my eyes out after Cazale was shot. And my dad sitting patiently next to me. The whole cinema emptied before I got myself together. I was very affected by stories when I was, still am, but very much at that age. And so I watched the Academy Awards with huge appetite to see Pacino and people win. And I was so furious when Rocky won that year.
Right.
And so there was a kind of odd, I didn't talk about it at the time, but when I stood on that platform and looked out and saw Sylvester sitting there, not having won, and me being there was a kind of weird circle to it, you know.
Absolutely.
I have nothing against Sylvester. I like him, and he did a remarkable thing creating such iconic characters that have a lot of meaning for people, a lot of meaning. And of course, he also paved the way, didn't he, for people kind of not having to do things through the system.
Well, it's one of the most successful independent movies, I think, that ever came out of the States, for sure. I mean, he sold his dog he sold his dog before he could make that movie. He had no money.
Apache, don't listen, boy.
He sold his dog before he signed the contract, and he turned down several $100,000 for the script because no one wanted him to be in the movie. And so he sold his dog, and then when he went to find the guy he sold the dog to a couple weeks later, the guy wanted like 50 times what he paid for the dog. So he was back to flush, but he got his dog back, and his dog was in the movie. But yeah, so that movie was great. I mean, he's made about 17 of them, but you know, people like him. But yeah, and so his brother Frank Stallone, I mean, he did the soundtrack for Staying Alive, the sequel to Saturday Night Fever. So
did he?
Yeah, so there you go. So you won an Oscar, and he got the Staying Alive soundtrack that his brother directed. So
right.
Enough about Stallone. Let's talk about you. But now
let's talk about.
I almost went down a rabbit hole of Dog Day Afternoon and John Cazale's stuff, because he was in The Deer Hunter as well, which is a big movie around these parts here.
He was also in one of the other great films of that period, The Conversation.
He's amazing.
With Gene Hackman, yeah.
Gene Hackman's one of my all-time favorite actors as well. Cazale made 5 movies, and it was The Conversation, Godfather 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, of course.
Dog Day Afternoon, and and The Deer Hunter. So
and married Meryl Streep.
Oh yeah. And it's just amazing, heartbreaking story. But a couple of documentaries came out about him too. That, I mean, I'll watch anything that anyone talks about him. But yeah, just a wonderful.
I've not seen that. I'd like to see a documentary about John. I'd say he's one of my favorite actors. Yeah,
he's
pretty good batting record, huh?
I think he's the only actor that's ever batted 1,000. But that's all. So where are you now? You're in south of London. So we have a little bit of a time thing.
I live in the south side of London, yeah,
Right.
in a place called Brixton.
All right, fantastic. All right, so I pretty much talked to everybody on the show about how they've kind of coped for the last year and a half when things have changed. Did you get affected by the pandemic at all, the COVID-19?
I did. I had COVID last Christmas,
Oh,
but I also was very affected as all, because I'm primarily a theater worker,
mhm.
and 300,000 of us were thrown into unemployment here in England, with a week's notice, and it created. I don't know what's happened in America, but it revealed quite a divide, which I was aware of because I'd been an artistic director of the Globe Theatre for 10 years,
Mhm.
but wasn't quite aware of the numbers, in that it's about 78% of employees in the theatre are freelance. That's not just actors, but designers. The people who create the theatre are freelance. And we were all thrown out, of course, onto government support systems, whereas the permanent staff of theatres were furloughed or were sustained by the reserves that the theatres had. And so this has become a little bit of an issue, or a question, at least, as we come back. But I've been very lucky. I can't really complain because I've been lucky enough to fall into a film career late in my life, and so I've been quite busy making films
And
from last autumn.
right when so last autumn. So were you shooting them in London, or were you shooting them in the States? Because I know the States had really strict COVID guidelines up until about, I don't know, 6 or 7 months ago. Still have them, but
I shot one in London, in England.
Mhm.
I came over for a few weeks to Boston and took part in the Adam McKay film, Don't Look Up, that's in post-production now. And then I've shot another one back here in London, and I'm about to go to Ohio to shoot a film there for a few weeks.
well, you got to pop back into Pittsburgh and say hello.
I think our good friend David Conrad's going to come up and visit me in Cincinnati. He says it's not that different than Pittsburgh, just one less river and a few more flags.
That's true, actually. That when I went to Cincinnati, I worked in Cincinnati briefly, and I was taken aback by the landscape, how similar it is to Pittsburgh. He actually hit the nail on the head by a third river. Also, by you even mentioning David Conrad on the show, our viewership in Spain is just going to go up through the roof. I tried to get David to pop on here, but he's running around, and he's been on the show a couple of times. And every time our Spanish viewership goes through the roof, and everyone in Spanish is sending us questions to have David Conrad back on the show.
Hey, did you hear about what Ronaldo did? The great English football player did the other day?
What happened?
He had to do an interview after he scored 2 more goals in the European Cup final and became the highest goal scorer ever in the history of European Cup. And he comes out to do a interview, and there are 2 Coke cans on the thing, and he picks up a can of Coke and goes, Coke, don't drink this. Moves the cans out of shot, brings up his water bottle and says, drink water. Apparently, stock, or whatever you call it, the value of Coca-Cola dipped by $4 billion. That's what I was told. I mean, check out my facts. I may not be always correct, but $4 billion. Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing. And you see the power that certain athletes yield. But yeah, I'm not I'm drinking water. We had
you liar. I can tell you're lying. I can tell you got a Coke in your right. Yeah, just put it down.
No, I don't. I have a wine glass from last night's show, and a couple other things around here, but no Coke. I don't do caffeine. There's the guy.
Yeah.
I don't do caffeine, which blows people's minds. But yeah, I don't. You don't want to see me on caffeine. I get a little too hyped up. So,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
basically, ever since maybe it was my parents that took me off of it when I was a kid because I was a little hyper. But yeah,
What age did you start drinking caffeine?
probably 3, 2. I mean, I don't know. Like it was a different time in the 70s and the 80s. They didn't they didn't know any better, or maybe they didn't care. But yeah, so I'm straight water, or any I'll do juices and stuff, but no caffeine for me. Are you a coffee guy?
I do drink coffee. I try not to drink too much, and obviously I drink a lot of tea. But yeah, sometimes I'll go on a pure water fast, and you feel a lot of benefits from it. A lot of benefits. Yeah.
But when you're saying Ronaldo, I saw another thing with him on the field, and he was getting like ushered off after the game, and people were waiting to do interviews with him. And there was a fan that was on the field trying to get a selfie with him, and so he just waited, and he kept pushing off the journalists and the photographers while this guy was trying to get his camera right. And they were literally, people were like dragging him, and he just kept on like posing for the picture and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm a fan of that. Also, he's one of the greatest of all time, but still, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more of a fan of Messi, to be honest, between the two of them. Yeah, I don't know. Ronaldo's very impressive, but there's a trickery to Messi that's just unbelievable. He looks like he's walked off the stadium. He's just walking around on the pitch, doesn't he? He doesn't care at all, and then suddenly, he lights his fire.
Amazing. So shifting again, we have so the last time I saw you in person, we toured the Eggar Thompson steel mill.
Yeah, didn't we?
Yeah, it was amazing. Well, this is at my theater. Dave's quick on the uptake. This was on Instagram, but this is where we went after. This was after that was like I don't know, the Super Bowl, Christmas Day for David and I anyway.
For me too. It's one of the best days of my life, that tour. It was unbelievable. And bless you, you took so many wonderful photographs and videos and things, which we keep private, of course, but they're just wonderful to look back at.
Yeah, I've got more for you to send here. I think I figured out my glitch in sending things. My hard drive got corrupted, and there's all kinds of stuff. But yeah,
weren't they amazing people? They were so, and the CEO was there. The CEO of the Monongahela Works, the whole Valley Works, not just the old ET plant. And do you remember that thing he said to us? He said when we all were sitting around having lunch afterwards.
Right.
He said the one thing you've got to remember in all this is that steel does not want to be steel.
That's what.
As soon as we stop scraping it, painting it, grinding it, recycling it, it'll go back. That's all it wants to do, is go back, rust away, back to iron or whatever it would end back up. And he was a kind of tall corporate guy, fit, handsome. Not the kind of guy you thought was going to come out with that kind of poetry and eloquence, and he just delivered it straight. It was really powerful. I've never forgotten it.
Well, that's the thing, Mark. You also have an eye to find beauty in things. In a short amount of time that I spent with you, I found myself falling in love with these things, seeing them through your eyes, things that are across the street from my theater and where I live every day. I'm like, oh wow, finding the beauty in these things. So that's a special quality that you have there, because when you repeated it after he said it, it hit me really hard about when he was talking about that with that, and that kind of kicked off the second leg of our tour there. You were working on a script when you were here when we did that tour. You did a little you did a night at the Carnegie Museum in Homestead.
At the Carnegie Library.
Right, library. Did I say music? Yeah, in Homestead.
The gift he gave to Homestead after the Battle of Homestead.
Right.
After smashing the Union, they got a gift, just like Braddock did, after they agreed to work 12 hours a day and 24 hours every 2 weeks.
It's a rough time. So how are things coming with that script?
Well, really good. It just grew and grew and grew. That other fellow in the picture is my co-writer, Peter Reeder, who had also come to Pittsburgh to be part of an arts festival there. And both he and I just got haunted by the stories of Pittsburgh. curiously for me, I entered it first of all by a lovely old high school teacher. When I came and did 12th night at the down at the O'Reilly. I first was in Pittsburgh in '91 playing Hamlet up at the theater in Allegheny City across the way.
The New Hazlitt Theater. It's the New Hazlitt Theater now. It was the original Carnegie Hall.
Yeah, that's right. Little stone building. But this guy,
that was my friend, old theater, yeah.
My friend took me up. He said, "I want to show you the house of this man." And he took me up to Clayton and showed me the house of, there he is, Henry Clay Frick. Mm-hmm. And I bought the book and I read the book and I found myself weeping on the airplane as we flew up to Michigan to this was a Globe theater tour, because of the death of his little daughter, who swallowed a pin, one of the smallest things you can make of metal, maybe steel even. And then I discovered that no one in Pittsburgh had a good word from Mr. Frick, and I was looking at the time for a play for the Globe, which I was still artistic director of, with 2 protagonists, and I thought I'd found it with Carnegie and Frick. But of course, as soon as I looked into it, I saw that the labor story couldn't be ignored, and a character such as Honest John McCluskey or Beeswax Taylor, or all these amazing people from the labor movement at that time, many of them Civil War veterans, like Captain Bill Jones, an incredible character. And so it kept expanding. And then the anarchists came into it, Emma Goldman and Berkman, and what they were asking for is now mainstream policy. We all agree that child labor is no good and you have to have recompense if you're injured in the workplace. Well, they were considered, well beyond the pale for suggesting those things. So to cut a long story short, it grew eventually into a 6-play cycle.
Of course it did.
Ranging from before the Civil War right up to 1919 and the death of these protagonists during the dreadful First World War. And it was only recently I realized this is who goes to 6 plays about one subject, even if they're written by Shakespeare? Who am I fooling? But the Guthrie had commissioned it, and the ART up in Cambridge, and so that's great. And it will still be a play, but I realize this is really the material for a TV series.
Definitely.
It's cinematic. The Johnstown Flood, the Battle of Homestead, the mines of Pennsylvania, the coke fields, the lush transatlantic liners, and the Scottish castles, and the homes in New York. It's got an amazing story. So we're moving full steam down that path and getting a lot of support. And so
fantastic. That's great, because that's not a mini series you're talking about either. That's a full series there.
It's a limited series, but it's pretty full. But we have to distill it. But I find that it's taken me a while. I've been distracted by some things like Sylvester Stallone. I blame him, really. I do blame him.
I believe it.
But
as well you should.
That was back in 2003. So my apologies, because I've taken a long time. But it really feels like it's found the middle of the Monongahela now. It was off to the sides in the mud for a while, but it's in the middle now.
I can't wait to see what comes of that. Because honestly, also the stories that you're talking about are not really taught much in school, even in Pittsburgh, even in the area where they happened. So I know. I found out more after I was done with school about it, just reading books on my own and like watching like some like history TV. It will do like a half-hour documentary on like one aspect of it, and then See You in Hell was a big book to read.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There was something else. Okay, you brought this up about 2003. When was Jerusalem on Broadway? That would have been
2011.
2011. Okay, so 2011, I had one of the best days of theater because I had read Jerusalem before I saw it. I was very excited that I was going to be in New York to see it, and it was right across the street or right down the street from the motherfucker with the hat.
That's right.
At the same time, and I was kind of in love with both scripts, and I saw them both on the same day. Right, it was like I forget what day of the week it was. It was a 2-show day, and it was one of the greatest days of theater in my life. But I also decided that we could never produce Jerusalem because your production was so fucking good. Pardon my language. Was so amazing of it, and we ended up doing the motherfucker with the hat.
A lot of amateur theatre groups in England have done Jerusalem kind
Really?
of wonderfully, yeah. Because remember it has the airstream in it, a proper old airstream. Well, they would create cardboard airstreams and spray paint them metallic paints.
Oh, nice.
And do it. I kept getting lovely photographs and questions from people doing it in amateur theatres, which I really adored. I'm going to do it again next year here in London.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I might have to get to London. I've never been, so this might be the excuse.
It'd be nice to see you.
Oh, it'd be great, man. And maybe I'll tag along with David on our ride to Seattle, or not Seattle, Cincinnati. That would be a much longer ride if we went to Seattle.
How's your theater doing? I love that space, as the picture obviously revealed. But I just thought that was great. Yeah, look at it.
It's cool.
Fantastic.
It's come a long way. I mean, we got the ventilation in since we saw that. We produced probably 8 shows since you were there. I thought that was an organ that Carnegie had given you there. Yeah, that's right. They donated
or you'd
that.
Stolen.
It would have had to be stolen for sure. But that's our duct work. Like, you got there right before we got in there, and Dave, who's the mole off to the side, was actually in the first show we did there.
Yeah.
So we did several shows, a couple of world premieres, and it's still there. It's going well. We have to do some upgrades to that brand new HVAC that you see there from 2 years ago because of new COVID restrictions and things like that. But it was rough for us because, I mean, it seems like things are opening up more now and they're loosening some restrictions. But when it was 20% capacity, 30% capacity with 6 foot of distancing, our theater's tiny, and if we spaced everybody out, we could sell 12 tickets. I think the most I got in there was like 17 just in me moving chairs around. So we decided to wait. We did a live streaming show of a Will Eno play, Tragedy, a Tragedy, which actually worked well for streaming theater because it was like a news program. So we're coming back. All the theaters are coming back. I was just on a Zoom call with everybody yesterday, and with all the giant theaters down to the small ones like mine in the area, and everyone's kind of working together on a game plan. That's one thing that's happened through the pandemic, is a lot of the animosity between theaters and everything has kind of melted away. Everybody's kind of come together with a singular goal. And realizes how important that what we're doing is. So
good. It's
the one silver lining that came from this. But yeah, everybody was going through just what you had talked about earlier with furloughing staff versus actors, and it was tricky here in the States because actors will work for 8 weeks, 2 months for one theater, and then be down for a little while, and then work for 5 or 6 theaters in a year, and the government really wasn't having that at first. So they started doing some gig worker kind of compensation for everything from restaurant workers to people who were jumping from, musicians to anything else. So you're working on a couple of things. Is there anything super exciting that's happening, or something that's caught your eye that you want to talk about before we wrap things up? Anything recently? As simple as water instead of Coke.
I got very inspired last year by Roosevelt's Civilian Conservation Corps of the 1930s, which employed 300,000 people, exactly the same number as theater people that were unemployed here. In about 3 months, he got them to work, and he built those beautiful parks that I've loved in my life, often walking with my brother in Yosemite and in other parks. And he restored all kinds of forests and the eroding soil and did amazing things. And I spent the first part of the pandemic last year really researching this in England and meeting all these wonderful people, and eventually with a bunch of other people coming up with an idea of a national nature service that would partner the National Health Service, because I think our health is actually really intimately linked to the health of the water we drink, the air we breathe, the food that grows in the earth, and all that kind of obvious stuff. It got a certain distance, but didn't go all the way yet. It will eventually. But one of the things I realized was that the royal family owns 2% of land in England. And I've met Prince Charles because he's a great lover of Shakespeare. And I wanted to write to him and say, why don't you rewild Balmoral? Because it should be a lush rainforest up there, and you're letting the deer eat all the little trees. And that's why, Britain has really ranks very poorly in its biodiversity and stuff. Well, recently some other guys sent this letter they'd written to the Queen and to Prince Charles and to his son as well, saying, why don't you rewild, all of you are keen on this, why don't you rewild 2% of England, which you have control of? And we haven't had an answer yet. But I said to them, why don't you make a petition of this thing? See what happens. They made a petition last week, 60,000 signatures within a few days. So that was very beautiful to me, that many people would sign it. And I hope a whole bunch of people will sign it. And I would imagine Prince Charles has thought of this. He's way ahead of the game. He's probably the most eco-conscious, renowned world leader there is. But so I hope that it adds some power to his elbow within the royal family to do that, because it can make a huge difference, not just in the UK, but worldwide. People would notice that he rewilded his land.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm in full agreement. Mark, thank you so much, man. I like talking to you. I want you to get into politics, but I definitely don't want them to tarnish you with it. I think
I don't want to go down politics. Citizens assemblies are the way forward, I think. Get rid of the politicians, citizens assemblies, and then get some good shakers and movers making it happen.
I'm with it, man. Thank you so much. I know we're running out of time here.
Okay.
I just want to thank you. I mean, I could go all day with you, Mark, but just thank you so much for everything, for coming on the show here tonight and everything that you do. I mean, beyond inspiring legions of actors to get into theater, and not just going to Hollywood to be in films. But thanks for everything, and I'm really glad that we were able to come together today and make a peace between you and Frank Stallone, and Sylvester Stallone. That we've moved on from that. Right.
Wait. I probably have something I could. No, I can't see them now. My little boxing gloves. Where are they? They're somewhere here. But come back to me. Let's do it again. If you get questions from people they want to ask, I really it's nice to chat with you, and I'm so focused on your city that it'd be nice to keep the connection live, Patrick.
Oh, definitely. We'll definitely do that, Mark. And anybody that loves Pittsburgh is okay with me. So
I do, yeah.
Anything you need. Hopefully, it's like a second city for you.
It's an amazing city, an amazing community. Yeah, amazing landscape, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Oh, also, now that you know what an EGOT is, we got to get you a Grammy, right? Do you already have a Grammy? We got to narrate a book or something. Get yourself a Grammy, then you could have your own. I think there's 2 or 3 people out there have the EGOT. So thanks for doing that. And I never thought in 200 episodes we'd have anyone that has a direct line to Prince Charles on the show. So we got that going for us.
He's a very nice man.
I believe it. Mark Rylance, thank you so much for being here and talking with us for a little while. Really appreciate it.
Lovely. My greetings to everyone I can't see.
The guy's just amazing. I'm sorry, the guy's just fantastic. I'm a Mark Rylance fan, folks, and I'm also a Sylvester Stallone fan. All right, I'm probably the biggest Sylvester Stallone fan, but Mark Rylance is kind of a magical guy. There he is.
Did we get the name of the dog?
Apache.
There we go. Apache made a couple key moments there.
Apache did. He did. Fortunately, apparently the roof outside that window was wicked hot. So if Apache went on there, it would be whatever. And yes, Wally Jamal right here, who's been on the show 3 times, didn't quite make the 5 Timers Club. He was in that thing with Mark, and he was wonderful at the Homestead. Yeah. So anyway, everybody remembers Wally Jamal Abdullah. So anyway, amazing. So I think we should keep things cooking here. Like I said, I could have talked to Mark all night. Seriously, one of the finest beacons of hope and the best person to talk about theater in the world. I almost geeked out a couple of times and I totally lost track. We just started having a conversation. So he's awesome. So maybe we'll have part two sometime in the future, but it'll be under a different banner. But without further ado, I'd like to move things along here right now and bring out a guest who actually was on this show the very first episode. Okay. So 200 episodes ago, he is bookending here today. He's coming from us. I don't even know where he is on the globe right now, but he was kind enough to be here with us. Dave Eggar, are you with us tonight?
What you guys? I'm in the show. Oh my god.
What's up, buddy?
How's it going, my friend? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine, man. How's everything going with you? How have you been?
I've been good. I'm actually in the studio I work in here in Bristol, Tennessee, where I'm due after a 4-month stint in Pittsburgh with y'all. I say y'all now. I guess I'm a Tennessean. And I'm doing good. I spent the whole year doing like a ton of remote recording, mostly for film and television, and a lot of cool collaborations, and teaching at a couple of universities that I've never been to physically and probably never will go to physically, and doing some stuff with the TAG Theater virtually. We just actually did a couple of films and also a very cool virtual live show. So I've been just busy
Dave,
making. Yes, sir.
Before you get that thing too comfortable, can you rotate that camera on its side?
Like that?
Boom. Yeah.
Look at that. I look so much cooler that way.
You, there's no way you could look any cooler than you already do, man.
And it's so good to see you. I think you're the most awesomest and such a talented guy. And I have to say, this is kind of an emotional moment for me, because I was in that very first episode, and at that time we were all kind of like, oh yeah, this is sort of like snow day. It's going to be like 3 weeks back to New York. It was like Broadway's reopening April 15th. And then it's like, nope. We had
no idea.
We had no idea. Now, coming to this final episode, and, I just did live shows are starting again. I just played with Cruz Contreras in Knoxville last night for about 500 people. And it was
that your first time out live in a large scale?
It's about my 4th live thing, all of which has happened in the last month, and, I feel like one of the biggest things I've gotten from this year is just how much I love live performance. I mean, I've been one of the lucky ones. I have been working all year. I've been doing recording basically 4 or 5 days a week, but I will never complain about live performing again. It's been so hard. I'm sure you feel the same as an actor, like to just have that visceral connection sort of taken away. Nothing that recorded or, technological things can do the same as having that connectivity. So
the give and take from an audience is, it's the drug I need. You know what I mean? And I miss it. I mean, I miss it terribly. I mean, I've had a couple of acting gigs on a couple of TV shows and movies, but I haven't performed live in for almost 2 years now, year and a half, because I directed a bunch of shows right before the pandemic shut down, and we were going to do a show that April. We were lined up to do a show.
You and I can work on. We got to talk about it next
All right,
spring.
Let's do that.
Actually, though, so you might have to drive across West Virginia and come visit me. But
West Virginia is not that far of a drive.
No, you're only 5 hours from me. But yeah, I want to talk to you.
But cool. But I was wondering, is there? I mean, you played a beautiful piece on episode 1. Michelle and Peter danced in their house. I couldn't get them on the phone in time to line them up for anything here. But I was wondering if you might give us a little taste of something here as a beautiful bookend.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, I don't have my cello here because I just came from a weird meeting, but I'm in the studio. I could play this crazy piano. This is a weird piano that they found. It sounds like a silent movie. It wasn't tuned or anything. It came from an old house nearby.
That's awesome.
something like that.
Beautiful.
Improv.
The improv is my favorite.
Yeah.
I'll take it over anything else, man. That's beautiful, man. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm so excited you're here with us tonight, man. Seriously, I'm not letting myself kind of like realize the gravity of this, but this has been like almost a year and a half of Dave and my life, and Pete, who's in a food truck right now. Have just been doing this thing 3 or 4 nights a week, and amazing artists like you were able to grace us by coming on here and playing stuff. And if that was an out of tune piano that you just happened to be sitting by, I'd hate to hear you on a real thing, man. You guy like that. But
it means a lot being here. Like, it's just such an interesting, we all kind of made it through all this insanity. And you kept going through this with this amazing show and connecting the community is just a really beautiful thing. You bring it human, you.
Well, man, thank you so much. I'm glad you were able to be here with us and share a little bit of it. And call me, man.
I will. I want to talk about this this crazy project, which will be cool. These are my friends who are here. This is Victor and Mike, who work in the studio, and Phil.
Hey, guys.
Making a bizarre record because we can. And
nice.
We're grateful to be here. Thank you, Patrick.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for giving us the bookend we needed. Thanks. Dave Eggar, everybody. Thank you. All right. Keeping things rolling here. It's Friday, okay? I know we're running a little late, but man, we got some world-class talent on the show tonight, and that's not ending anytime soon, because up now we've got It's Friday. So it wouldn't be a Friday without Natalie Bensavenga talking about a little bit of Ask Natalie advice and a quick little taste of 5 minutes with Natalie Bensavenga. But first, here she is, Natalie Bensavenga. Natalie, how you doing?
I'm feeling all the feels tonight. That's how I'm doing.
I got a lot of feels.
It's a lot of emotions, and that music, that was beautiful. It was beautiful. And your interview, I was like blown away. What's his name? Mark,
yes. Mark Rylance.
That was incredible. What an awesome guy, too. That was wonderful.
That's barely scratching the surface of that man. He is without question.
He was just something else. So
he has a way of, he could pick up a penny on the street and talk about it, and you'll fall in love with that penny. He's a magical guy.
I was totally getting that. So what a show tonight. What a show.
Well, hey, it's not ending anytime soon, because I'm wondering if you got any fun advice questions in the week, because Natalie, in case you guys are wondering, is a nationally syndicated advice columnist, and she shares some of the tidbits with us every week on the show. This is our final installment of Ask Natalie Advice, which is getting me too. But what do you got, Natalie?
Okay, I have one for you tonight. So this one says, "Dear Natalie, I just got married and my husband and I have radically different spending habits. I'm a saver. I always have been. I grew up with very little and watched how my mom was able to pinch pennies to get us through. So as an adult with a successful career, I can't help but have that mindset when it comes to my money. My husband grew up financially stable and has a much freer attitude with spending. His whole thing is, you can't take it with you. While I can respect that, it just isn't the way I live. So we are at an impasse. The pandemic was hard on us, but we were both able to keep our jobs and had to make a few sacrifices along the way. We live together in an apartment, but we're looking to buy a house. I found one that I really like, but he wants something bigger. Yes, we technically can afford it, but I would like to live below our means until the remnants of this pandemic are behind us. So we've been fighting about it a lot. Our lease is up at the end of the summer. We really need to make a decision. How do I get him to understand my perspective? I don't want to be house poor."
Tell you what, that was a long question. I mean, that was a well thought out. That wasn't like a tweet.
That's a person that you can tell is methodical, and that's probably why they're a saver, because you could just sort of see like them plotting every single.
So bottom line, she wants to get a house. He's throwing it around, spending it like he's got it.
Yeah.
And what to do now? How to cover for this?
And they've just gotten married, so they're newlyweds, and this is sort of throwing a wrench in sort of that honeymoon phase, so to speak.
Did she not know that this was what the guys was, or did they not have that conversation? Like, I know you're spending now, but when we get married, life is different than
So that's funny that you say that, because a lot of people in the comments were all like, "You shouldn't fight about family or money, and they should have figured this out before they walked down the aisle." And I'm like, who are these people with these incredible insights to everyone else's relationships? Like, if it was that simple, wouldn't we all do that? Wouldn't we all have everything figured out before we get married? Like, give me a break. So, yeah, I agree, Kate. I wish Mark was here to weigh in on this as well, because
Mark would give the sage advice. Dave's got to pull up a picture.
Give some wonderful advice. But yeah, I basically think that, like, first of all, I'm not a financial planner. Okay. This is just purely from a relationship standpoint, but they need to work through this because they're married. It's true. Money can really divide people. I'm with her on this side where I think, live smaller right now, save your money. Let's wait to see how kind of things calm down after this insane year we had. Then, down the road, maybe buy a bigger house.
Was he like spending money, getting crazy like during the pandemic too? Or was it like,
it kind of sounds this way, that he's just like, you can't take it with you. Like,
well, I mean, he's right in that you can't take it with you.
That is technically not wrong.
But you might not make it to,
exactly.
You might actually make it to 90, and you might have to think, there's a fine line here. Yeah. But if it seems like it's driving this woman crazy, so I would go back to that conversation thing.
What are your spending habits? Like, are you more of a saver or a spender?
I'm not a maker. That I don't make that much, so I can't be either. No, I'm kidding. No, I would say I have
a horse in this race.
Well, no, I would say I tend to buy gifts, kind of thing. I don't buy anything for myself, right? So I mean, I have an amazing 2007 Nissan that I love to drive, and it's still running and it's paid off. So I'm thrilled. Mm-hmm. I'll spend stuff on like household fixtures or something. Like I won't cheap out on this, that, or the other thing because I got burned in the past on having to flip over cheap stuff. Like that's my thing. Okay. I'll buy gifts for other people, but I'm not spending. I'm not, I mean,
you're not a spender.
I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a spender. No.
Yeah. I would say I'm one or the other all the time.
I respect spenders. I respect them. I wish I had more of them in my life.
I'm like, I want to be a spender, but I'm just not.
But Melissa Martin is correct. I tend to spend money on cop costumes and badges for plays. I'm a stickler in it's the theater. Okay, it's the theater and films and stuff. I have a stock. It's not like there's except cop. This is true. Donna said she'd rather be house poor than a husband who throws away money poor.
That's fair.
Stetson cowboy hats. I have one. I have two of those. Okay, Sarah. Okay. So people,
shout out. You're a good gift giver, apparently.
I like to give gifts.
I think.
But Eileen chimed in there, so that was
your
nice
love language.
What's that?
Is that your love language?
My love language is English. You know what I mean? I don't know what my love language. I like to buy gifts. I like to make people happy, kind of a thing. But I mean, obviously, I'm not buying cars. I'm not like okay. So Dave's right on. I bought myself one thing one time, and it's been.
You'll never live it down.
Well, I've had that car for.
That's a cool.
I've had that car for 10 years.
Keep talking about that 2006 Nissan.
Touche, my good man.
Car.
And it's a 2007 thing.
Yeah, Dave.
That's a 68 Mustang fastback that outside of Dave's house that I wish he never took that picture of me.
Oh, I'm glad he did.
That son of a bitch. Anyway,
car, good in it.
Parlaying here now. We have with another tough pill to swallow, Natalie. We're moving into the last Alone Together Pittsburgh installment of 5 Minutes With. Now we're going to see Natalie. Natalie's going to be a part of our surprise show coming up this
I'm so excited.
This Thursday. So be sure to tune in for that. 7:00, not the regular 8:00 time, folks. At 7:00, tune in if you can't make it down to Roundabout's pop-up to be with us in person. The show is going to be live at 7. So Natalie, tell us about this last installment of 5 Minutes With.
So this one's a little different. I called this one 5 Minutes With, and we're flipping the script because I was going to preview the Heinz History Center event, their History Uncorked this year, which is next week, but I'm chairing it. So my original plan was I was going to interview the chair. Well, the chair is me. So I had my friend Elise Michaux E, who I interviewed a few months back, who has her own podcast. So I had her be me, and then she interviewed me for 5 minutes with.
Oh, very nice. Dave, let's see how that script got flipped. Changing it up on the last leg.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. We're flipping things around a little bit today. I'm here on 5 Minutes with the, I love to say her name like that, Natalie Bensavenga. How you doing, Natalie?
Hey, E, how are you? This is a little bit of a role reversal. This is fun.
I'm here for it. Thank you for inviting me to do this with you.
I'm so excited to have you hosting my 5 minutes with. This is great.
What an honor. I hope I do it justice in the meantime, all right? You
doubt.
give me a good grade at the end of this, all right?
No worries. You're going to be great.
So everyone, we're going to be talking about Natalie's time being on the Heinz History Center's History Uncorked as a chairperson.
Yeah, so what's crazy about this is normally when you chair an event, right, people want to interview you. So I was going to have whoever was going to chair the Heinz History event to talk about it on 5 Minutes With, but it happens to be me. So I thought, how can we still do this? And then of course I thought, you should do the honors of, getting to have this exchange, because we've interviewed each other before for other things too, which is really fun. So I'm so excited that you were willing to do this with me, but it has been a really interesting experience chairing an event as opposed to what I used to do with the scene column, which was cover the events, because I don't think I appreciated the amount of work that goes into making these events happen. And now I have that very intimate knowledge.
So you got to share that with us. First, I think my first question for you is, how'd you land the gig?
So the great thing about the Heinz History Center is I've had such a long relationship with them ever since I worked at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, which is now almost 8 years ago. And so when I met them, I covered History Uncorked, was one of my very, very first events that I ever covered for the PG. And every year, Sarah Bachnick and I, we would do videos, setting the scene videos to showcase what the event was going to be for the year. And I just fell in love with the History Center. I fell in love with History Uncorked. It's a huge, huge event for young professionals. They'll have sometimes close to 2,000 people in the museum. There's always different themes. It's a real party, like you go to a lot of events, but this one was always like a real party.
Absolutely.
Yes. And it was so much fun to just get to be a part of that. So I've known them for many years. And now that I'm no longer at the PG and doing my own thing, they reached out to me and they were like, how about chairing it? And I'm like, sure.
Why not?
Why not? And it's been quite
fun to try on new things, right? That's how we learn and we grow. So I know you've learned a lot and you've grown a lot. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting experience. This is so weird to be on the other side, by the way, because I'm so used to questions. No, but it's just been a really interesting experience to, when you quit a job during a pandemic or right before a pandemic, and the whole world, the whole world has sort of changed quickly. Yeah. So in a way, it was actually comforting because I didn't feel like I was the only one in the world that was making big decisions and big transitions during a very uncertain time, and which led me to be able to do 5 Minutes With, which led me to be able to interview you a few months back when we were talking about your podcast. I've met so many incredible people like you, E, and I managed to rope you into being on the committee at the Heinz History Center event too. So I
sure did. It's been great. Again, I was one of those folks, I wasn't covering it like you, but I got to attend a few years back. One of my best friends and I attended, and we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. The dance floor was amazing. Baron Batch was there doing his art, and it was just an amazing night out on the town with faces you wouldn't see anywhere else. It was nice to have a space where I felt comfortable and I was with my people, if that makes sense, like that were my age, hungry for something more, something different in the city. And I had not been in the Heinz History Center before, shame on me, but it brought me into this space. And I think a lot of young professionals like me who are from the area appreciate events like that in a different way, because I know I'm not the only person who could say after that event, that was my first time there. And and then I ventured back actually after that. So that's what these events do, open the door for people who are local yokels who sometimes take those things for granted.
No, and that's such a good point. You know, we have all these incredible institutions right in our backyard here in Pittsburgh, especially for the size of the city. There's so much arts and culture to take in. And so I love that the Heinz History Center, you know, brings this event out every year that just envelops so many different types of people and makes them feel comfortable and welcome into the space. And I'm so excited this year because they've moved it. So normally it's in the winter.
Right.
This year they're doing it in the summer because of COVID. And so it's like a 3-tiered approach, which I think is cool because it's a little something for everyone. You can either do like they're all virtual, you know, to-go boxes with like all these goodies from the city in them and have a couple of coffees.
Really good goodies. Yeah.
Yes. You can do a scavenger hunt where they'll be timed out. So you and just a few of your friends that you feel comfortable with can, you know, go through the museum, experience it, go on a scavenger hunt, and then get your box to go with your goodies at the end. Or like me, you can just go all out and just say, okay, I'm getting my pod of people. You can have up to 10, and we're going to go onto the 5th floor, and it's going to be a real dance party with lots of food and drinks.
Amazing.
And that's what I'm looking forward to.
I mean, how could you not be? It's time to get out and shake a little something.
Exactly. I know. Don't you feel this sense of, now that the summer's here too, that, and we're vaccinated, you and I are both vaccinated, that you just feel this sense of freedom in a way that we haven't had in a while.
Truly.
Yeah.
It's nice to be normal again. My friends were laughing at me. I went to the gym finally. Trying to get back to the gym. You know, it's a vaxxed girl summer, but I'm also trying to get that hot girl summer. You know what I'm saying, Natalie? It's roly poly here on the side from it.
Just more to love. Just more to love.
I like that approach. I like that. But no, I'm still getting used to unmasked faces. And a lady smiled at me at the gym and I almost didn't know what to do.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I think we're all having this little bit of an experience of, we're still with one foot in the past and one foot in the future.
Truly.
So I think that's no pun intended, but that's kind of what the Heinz History Center event is allowing us to do, right? Foot in the past, foot in the future. So pick your level.
I see what you did there.
I didn't even mean to, but
come on. But when you're good, you're good. Come on. When you're good, you're good.
Go with it. But no, it's going to be such a great event. I'm so honored to get to chair this event. I'm so honored that you decided to be on the committee with me.
Thank you for asking.
So much. Oh my gosh. And you know, as we wrap this 5 minutes up, I just wanted to ask you, do you have anything coming up that you want to share with everybody?
I would like to share. I want folks to look out for a photo project that we're working on. And I'm not going to give up too much of the details, right? Because you got to pay attention, right? It's called Being Creative Outside the Lines. So we're going to be celebrating some creatives in a very special way. And just look out for it. You got to follow me on social media, Elise Michaux, to figure it out. The encourager.
The encourager, that's right. I already follow you, and I can't wait to see what this project is all about. And I hope everybody can come to the Heinz History Center History Uncorked event, either virtually, scavenger, or in person with us next weekend. It's Friday, the 25th. You can still get your tickets at the Heinz History Center's website, so be sure to check it out. And E, thanks so much for flipping the script with me today.
This was so fun. We got to do it again sometime.
Anytime, E, anytime.
You're the best. See you next week.
Bye.
Natalie.
It's a little sad.
I understand. I'm feeling it too.
It's
but
right now because I'm like, oh, next week.
All right, well, just let's save it for next week, right? Because right now,
I'll hold it all in.
We've got another guest in the wings who's gonna bring us home tonight, and I'm excited. Byron's waiting for us in the back.
Love Byron. I'm so
But
excited.
Natalie, I'll probably say this again next week. But thank you so much for everything you brought to this show. For it, you brought people to this show that we never would have had, and your interviews were top notch, professional, and awesome the whole way through, and had a nice heart to them. And I just want to thank you for everything you did, and hopefully you keep doing what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate Pete. I appreciate Dave. Honestly, this was such an experience. You guys really you gave me real space to get creative during this horrible time, during this pandemic, and I'm eternally grateful to all of you.
Hey, that's fine. And there was only like 1 or 2 of the 5 minutes with that went over 17 minutes long.
Yeah, that's it.
So it was like, yeah. But it's cool. Donna says she'd take your advice any day. Well, follow her, Donna. Follow her. Get on that. Thank you so much, Natalie. And you can see Natalie again this Thursday at the send-off show for Alone Together Pittsburgh. We have one last time and it'll end with us all being together. So let's see. All right, Pittsburgh. Thank you so much, Natalie, for everything. Love you.
Thank you,
Natalie.
Bye.
It's crazy. It's like a family that we had here. We kind of kept each other through this along with everybody else. But before I bring out our next guest, which I'm excited, I'm even drinking out of one of his shot glasses right now, which has been a staple here on my TV tray throughout this entire pandemic. I want to give one last shout out to Farm to Table Pittsburgh, farmtotablepa.com. Fantastic sponsor of this show that kept us going. If you go to farmtotablepa.com, you can find out everything you need on how to buy fresh and buy local. We did a buy fresh, buy local segment every Wednesday. If you want to go back to our back catalog on YouTube or Facebook, any Wednesday show for the last year is Farm to Table centric. So you can find out so many things with just tips from Doug Oster to people from every farm in the city and in the tri-state area. So thank you very much to Farm to Table of westernpa.com. Go to that website. You can find out everything you need from farmers markets to CSAs to where you get everything from meat to produce and there on and on. Thank you, Farm to Table. All right, so now it is time. The last guest on the last Good Friday. Here he is, one of our favorites, and this puts him into the illustrious Five-Timers Club, Byron Nash.
Hello. What's going on?
What is going on, man? Thank you for being here with us tonight.
Oh, thanks for having me. You know I love being on the show.
Well, this is fantastic. You're one of our favorite guests. I'm glad you could share this with us. And like I said before, I am drinking out of my black metal shot glass right now.
Out of my little Helltown cup. It's a margarita tonight, though.
Well, that's good. Well, I'm missing 2 parts from a margarita right now, so we're in the same. We're in the same thing. Before we get into what you got going on, because you have a lot going on right now, I will have you know that we have all been drinking a lot more water.
Good.
Since the last time you were on the show, water has been an issue. We were talking to Mark Rylance about water. We ran out of time. Otherwise, I was going to tell him about you telling us to drink water. I think Pete might have peed the bed one night, but when he tried to get to 120 ounces, but it has been changing our lives. So thank you for that. And as far as wellness goes, you are our guru. So let's start off with Do Ya Fit. What's new with Do Ya?
Man, I'm about to launch the website. I haven't even launched it yet. So we were like doing photo shoots and getting everything built up, and everything else has been organic. So I just been training people, and I'm kind of booked right now, which is good, you know. But it's also transitioning because it's a growth program more than fitness.
Right.
I think fitness is at the forefront, but it's really about personal development and everything. And so now I'm going to start doing some speaking engagements where I go to businesses or different functions and kind of help coach people through different tactics they can do in their lives to kind of make themselves feel better, get through the stress, take care of their bodies. And, you know, if they're weird about being in the gym, you don't need a gym to exercise. You don't need a gym to be active. So I'm really trying to show people other ways that might have, that can be more opening to them, you know, as compared to how they maybe saw fitness before.
That's fantastic, man. I'm sure you'll do fantastically with that. But you also have, speaking of Helltown, something's happening,
dude. It's crazy. They asked me to like help them with art and social media and promotion and marketing because of everything I did with black metal the previous years. I guess they liked it, you know, and I just did it because that's what I would do anyway. I believed in the product. You know, I had a beer with them. They supported me. That was my way of giving back, spreading the word. And I guess they're in a transition where they want to grow their brand and they wanted me to come on board and try to help them do that. So
can't think of a better guy. But
like fitting.
and black metal's coming out new
next week. Yeah, Black Metal 4 already. It seems like soon, but we wanted to release it early because we, you know, fingers crossed. I'm like maybe things will open up. We don't know what's going to come, you know.
Right.
And once it seemed like it was going to be that way, I felt like people would really want to just be out and be around people and have that social activity and have beers and barbecues and all the fun stuff. So we decided to not wait, because last year it came out like late September. That's kind of late. We were shooting for summer, but there's that pandemic and thing going on. So we were lucky that we were able to pull that off. But because of that, we pulled it off later. So going into winter with a beer like that, if we would have been back a month, I think it would have done different things. But it was a transitional time for everybody and everything in business. So this year, I'm like, I'm not waiting for anything. We don't know what can happen, so let's go. Let's
get it in. Well, I think everybody is just like ready to get it in.
Yeah,
as fast as they can right now.
Yeah, you just don't know. So we decided to go with earlier and have it be like a summer beer, because it's sort of about it's all based off of my love for concerts and music and metal and just camaraderie. That's sort of the essence of that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Byron, when you were on the show last year, I guess probably 8 months ago or something, when the last round of black metal came out, and we all got some black metal for the show, was one of our favorite shows. But I remember, I think I went back and watched it again, and you were like, we were drinking it like fast. And you were like, it's gonna catch up to you. It's gonna give you a hit. We're like, what are you talking about, Byron? This is delicious. It's like this is fantastic. Mother's milk, man. This is fine. Yeah. So we all drank through them, and then by the end of the show, we were like, hey, Byron's amazing.
Yeah, that was
rough. People woke up with hangovers and like, where did this come from? So
yeah,
this is I will say, one of my favorite beers, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So it is great. I will stock up once it hits the shelves.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
For sure. So, I mean, you've got a guitar in your hand, Byron.
I always do, man. I mean, I played 6 shows last week. So yeah, I mean, this is the most shows I've had booked. I'm like 25 booked right now. So I just want to play, solo gig, duo gig, full band gig, big show, small show, doesn't matter. Just want to play.
Yeah, we had Sarah Aziz on the show from the Arts Festival, and she was singing your praises last week, and we were saying that we're hoping we can get you back before we're done here tonight. So I'm thrilled you're here to send us home our last Friday.
Yeah, man.
And if you can find any way to make it on Thursday, we go till 10. I know you're busy.
Well, if you go till 10 and there's Wi-Fi where I'm at, I will find a spot and hop on. And I will.
All right. We'll talk.
Okay.
We'll talk. We'll figure out a way. We'll teleport you.
Till 9.
All right. All right. So Byron, send us home with something, man.
All right, man. Making stuff up on the spot. You guys always put me on the spot. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm playing.
Yeah, the guitar, dude, I love it. This is an impromptu night, man. I think we asked you to be on the show about 15 minutes ago. So it was like we had time.
I'm taking a picture of us.
All right, do it. Let me hold up. Yeah,
there it is. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, guys.
And Byron, thank you so much for coming on here, sharing talent and everything you're doing. You're inspiring, man. Just telling you right now. So keep it up, and I wish you nothing but success. And I wish we could do more for you, but I think you're doing all right on your own.
It's all good, dude. Listen, you guys gave me an opportunity to play that entire last year, so I'm super grateful. Whenever you need me, just call me. If I'm available, I'll do it.
Thank you, Byron. ByronNash.com. Everybody, do your wellness. And get ready for black metal because it's going to blow your minds. That's beautiful, Byron. Thank you so much. Well, all right. We were coming to the end of it. Dave, did anything happen with that poll, or could you not find it?
I mean, I found it, but I don't see anything on the thingy. So I don't know what's going on.
All right, we got votes, but you know what? Tune in on Thursday. We'll tell you who won.
There you go. That's the way to do it. Yeah, cliffhanger.
Let's see who won.
And what a cliffhanger it should be. If you people out there, what are you going to be doing on a Thursday? What are you doing on a Thursday? You can't come out and meet us at this amazing, fun time hang zone. Let's do it. You too, Melissa. Come on.
I will dig in. I will find out who won. The voting will end shortly. But keep voting while you can. I've got to dig in. Pete was supposed to be. Is Pete still on the burger truck, Dave?
No, I mean, I think he did his best to hang on, but I'm guessing the burger grease kind of conflicted with the Wi-Fi signal. That's usually
at least we got to see him. At least we got to see him. Well, guys, I'm going to skip any emotional stuff because we've got something coming up Thursday, 7:00. Can't beat it. It's going to be live and it's going to be streaming. If you can't make it, that's cool. It is outdoors because we are still following some COVID-like protocols. We are doing that. So get that there. And if there's something that I haven't told you, okay, Cliffhanger was a Stallone film, Tara. You are correct. I saw that at the theater. And afterwards, I accidentally jumped off the cliff at the Showcase Cinemas West out there in Robinson and didn't realize it was a cliff. It was anyway, a human chain was involved getting me back up it. But anyway, magical times back in those days. So anyway, so that's how you get there. It's not far, about a half mile from
If
Heinz
you want to
Field.
come talk to me, I'm actually going to be down the street here, just a little ways across the way over here. I'm going to be behind this building over here. So if you want to come meet me, we can hang out over here.
All right, man. So episode 200, week 66 is now in the books. Obviously, I want to thank Mark Rylance, Natalie Bensavenga, Dave Eggar, Byron Nash. Gosh, everybody involved with the show here tonight. And everybody, thank you for watching. Hopefully, we gave you some entertainment and had some fun stuff. Maybe you saw some stuff you didn't know about, know what was going on out there. Pittsburgh is a fantastic city, and we all love you. And thank you for letting us do this for a year and a half. So again, get on it. There's a Facebook group and all of the above that you can hit up. Check it out. We want to see you on Thursday in person or online. Tell your friends. It's going to be a good show. There are going to be live. DJ Gina Mungo is going to be spinning. We're going to have a brass band is going to be playing. Fat Man D is going to make an appearance. You might have some other famous Alone Together Pittsburgh famous people in the Five Timers Club showing up. You definitely want to check it out. Tons of surprises. Thank you, Mrs. Mansueto. You were my favorite viewer of the show. So on behalf of Dave and myself, because we're the only two that are left here in the system. Anybody else in the system, Dave? Byron's still working.
The music
All right.
keeps rocking.
Byron just keeps rocking. We're just waving
Always
goodbye.
rocking.
You keep playing. Thank you all, everybody. Thursday, 7 to 10. We'll see you roundabout. Thank you all very much. Thanks for everything. We love you. We're out of here. And Andre Costello for the theme music. Thank you all.
He better come to the party.
Did we forget to check in with John Travolta?
I am if you let me. I never fucking stop when you start talking to me. Start talking to her. Yeah, right.
That's right, folks. Get vaccinated. Hey, Dave, did we check in with Sally Wiggin?
When I walk out and there's someone without a mask and they come too close to me, I'm just racked with fear, and then I want to punch them in the face.
Couldn't end a show without that one, baby. Couldn't end a show. We're out for real this. Good night. We love you.